All right, we are live from Northern California, and if you like the outdoor track and looking to quench your thirst on all things moto, you've come to the right place.
Okay, we're gonna take it there. You can't deny it. You can't deny it. That's the sound of freedom. That's the sound of love. That's the sound of everything that's in my name. That's the sound of freedom.
Hey, what's going on, motocross fans? Welcome to the starting gate. I'm your host, Jenna Corrado, and for the next hour, I'm going to be hanging out with this guy right here, Jason Thomas.
I'm excited. I've raced here a dozen times or so. I'm retired now and get to work on the other side. And really more, once we've wrapped this up, this starting gate, I get to be a fan.
Absolutely, and this is my first motocross race as it is, so I'm pumped up. I cannot wait.
What do you think so far?
Well, I mean, I love it. I come from a cycling background. I cover the Tour de France, and it's cool because there's definitely a crossover of interest. These guys out here love the cycling guys love the motocross. Actually, I was just in San Diego last weekend at the Amgen Tour of California, and these guys wanted to be here today. The cyclists wanted to come here to the motocross race. Well, I made it. They didn't, unfortunately. They're out there right now, so it's really good to be here. Anyway, JT, what are you expecting today?
Hangtown has its own unique challenges. It's the opening round. This is one of the great rounds of the series. It's the longest running round of the series. So these guys coming in, they're a ball of nerves. They're excited, of course, but they know that it's go time. All the talk, all of the work, all the preparation stops, and an hour from now, it's time to twist the throttle.
Yeah, well, you raced here a dozen times, so talk about an experience of yours.
Probably the most memorable. I actually led here briefly in 2004, and Ricky Carmichael ended that much shorter than I would have liked. But, Hangtown was just always a really, really rough track. And I can always remember coming out of the Supercross series, you always came here with questions about your bike setup and your fitness level and how was I going to stack up all summer long. And Hangtown was really a precursor to how the summer would play out and really not answered questions, but kind of, told you if you needed to work harder or if you're in a good place.
Well, we see the countdown clock right there, 59 until the gate drops. JT, tell us what the format's going to look like today.
So we're going to have, two motos in each class. Each race will be 30 minutes plus 2 laps. And for those of you at home that have never gone through a race that long, it's grueling. It's no secret why these guys work so hard during the week. To go through, 35 minutes twice is a really tough challenge. So you're going to get a lot of racing action sitting at home. For those lucky fans that are here, your whole afternoon is packed full of action. So 2 motos each class. We'll have an overall winner in each.
And the Supercross series or season just wrapped up. So what were they doing in between these 2 weeks?
The weekend off is a funny saying to me because there's really nothing off about it. These guys were really, really getting after it in the past 2 weeks. They've had to completely change over their discipline from Supercross to motocross, and that means lots and lots of testing, lots of hours on their bicycle, long motos out on the track, and really it's a lot of change in technique too. So they've had their hours booked for the last 2 weeks, and I'm sure they're ready to put all that behind them and actually get down to action.
Yeah, they'll get to put that practice to work today, and let's take a look at the animated course preview presented by Kawasaki. Jason, you know all about it. Take us away.
So we have the Kawasaki Green Arrow here. This thing is incredibly talented, if I have to be honest with you. Watching it go through the start here, it starts to bunch up into the second turn, go over the first tabletop, and head into that Big Mo section. Jen has asked me, why do they call it Big Mo? Well, anytime you have an uphill like that, you're looking for momentum, especially on the smaller bikes. They're going to be racing up that hill. Coming to the new corkscrew section, all these little twists and tight turns are really, really rough. Into the Red Bull Arch. Jenna, that's right behind us. Coming down these hills, I know you were watching practice with us. You saw these guys in the braking bumps. It's just a brutally, brutally rough track today. You come into the stair-step section we're going to preview a little bit later with Tristan, but there are so many unique things about the Hangtown track that make it excellent. I know we're coming towards the Fly 150, and that's a huge highlight for us. It's arguably the biggest jump on the series. Have you got to see anyone jump it yet?
Actually, I was just going to ask you, Eli Tomac, really the only one to give it a go last year. Anyone else you think will go for it today?
I saw Andrew Short jump it earlier, and it's really a horsepower jump. You know, the guys that have the power, especially the 450s, are really going to air that thing out, and it's fast. If you can do it, it's an easy second or more plus per lap that you don't have to work to shave that off. So coming down here, they're coming into the mechanics section. Just before the mechanics, we're coming, right, so every time they come through this section, the mechanics are going to give them their lap times, an encouragement, whatever. Coming into the finish line jump, which wraps right back onto the start, and that's a lap here at Hangtown.
Let's go back to that corkscrew section, the new element of the track this year. How would you approach that part?
You know what? It's basically a vertical wall straight down, and it really, really slows down that section. That used to be pretty quick there. So I know it was a challenge for the guys on press day. I heard a lot of dialogue back and forth about, I don't like it, I do like it. And it really depends on what you like in a motocross track. If you like really fast, flowy sections, you're going to love it. If you like for the track to slow down a bit, it'd be a bit more technical, like a Christophe Purcell or Marvin Muscan, maybe it works better for you. So I think it's personal preference.
All right, well, our very own Tristan Merrick was out there yesterday taking a look at that section of the track. We're going to toss it to him.
What's happening, guys? Tristan Merrick here, out on the track the night before the race. All the amateur racing's done. You can hear and see in the background officials prepping Hangtown here, getting ready for that season opener tomorrow. But we want to talk about a new section here. We've got Dramatics guys in the background. We got focus here. A new section called the corkscrew. So it's a downhill, comes into this very distinct ridge. So a slight right-hander into this ridge, and then a drop off down into another hard right-hander, which then goes into the double. We got raindrops falling right now. It's going to be interesting to see how things develop here overnight. Are we going to get a downpour? Or are we just going to get a light sprinkle, making the track even better than it is right now? And again, completely fresh, so the first riders out tomorrow will be put in the grooves. It'll be interesting to see, is it a wide line you need to take? Are we going to see lots of passes here? Only the racing tomorrow will tell.
So Tristan said there were a few raindrops yesterday. Today, it's holding up pretty well. There is a chance that the clouds can open up. 63 degrees, atypical for California. We weren't expecting this one, but if it does rain, you were saying that this track doesn't hold water very well.
It doesn't. We've had some of the muddiest conditions in the history of the sport at this facility. So the dirt being so hard packed, the uphill and downhill, if it rains and if it all comes at once, you're going to see rivers literally running through the racetrack. So hopefully we haven't seen that yet. It's, you know, a little cloudy and cool. That's the biggest thing I've noticed all day is it's unseasonably cool right now. So I'm hoping it holds out. I think, you know, for the fans, for us, for everyone, the best case scenario is it stays just like it is.
All right, well, winning, of course, is the #1 goal today, but looking good is also important to these guys. So we're going to play a little game here called Who or Best. JT, team me up on two guys, and we're going to compare. Who's the first?
So the first two we have here are Trey Kennard and Weston Pike. You tell me, Jenna, what do you think?
I like the bold statement with Trey Kennard. All red. I love that. Nice accent with the blue regarding the helmet. Weston, too much of just a clash with everything, if I'm going to be honest. I go Trey. Trey, all the way.
And just to give you some insight, Trey Kennard is very, very lightweight. He's going for pure race performance. Weston Pike, true to his personality, a little bit more utilitarian, but very, very durable. That's the side I know very well. I know you're just looking at colors, but I want to back it up because I take this stuff a little personal when it comes to fly racing gear.
We're going to move on, but I also think it's great to be able to spot out someone far away.
Yeah,
so
these two, we have Zach Osborne and Martin Davalos. Shockingly, they're wearing the same gear on the same team, so I'm going to leave it up to you to find something different that you like better than the other.
Are you kidding me? Oh, goodness. What about their boots? Are the boots?
They should be head to toe the same. Probably a different goggle or whatever, but you know, for me, when I look at it, I know their personalities and what they like. So to me, it's, you know, Zach is going to be the off-road guy. He races nothing like this in rain and mud and all that stuff, so he's going to want something that's going to really hold up. Martin is your finesse guy. So Martin is the guy that's going to win Supercross races and look perfect out there. So I know it's tough to tell from these colorways right here, but two very, very different personalities on the track.
All right, I'll be honest, not really a fan. This isn't soccer, but I call this one a tie.
That's not
final
cool.
one.
That's not cool. That's not cool. I'll be honest with you.
All right, final one here.
So Justin Brayton, Andrew Short. 2 more teammates. We did the same thing to you here, same exact gear. Really, the only 2, as you can see, are the helmets. I'll let you be the judge of those.
Yeah, I like Andrew Short's helmet. Kind of has an 80s vibe to it.
All right, that's his signature helmet. He probably would be
Yeah.
bummed if you call it an 80s vibe for his signature helmet, but that's all right. I'm going to let it slide. It's your first weekend. Both of them wearing the same kind of stretch gear that Trey Kennard wore.
All right, well, we have a lot coming up in the show. We're going to talk 250 class, 450 class, but next up is JT's top 10 moments of 2015.
I'm excited for those.
Me too. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, everyone. This is the starting gate. Jenna Corrado here alongside Jason Chalmers, and we are counting down to the start of the race, and we are also going to count down the JT's top 10 moments of 2015. At number 10, it's Aaron Plessinger, 250 Rookie of the Year. What you got on AP?
You know, he had a breakout year last year. No one really knew what to expect from Aaron Plessinger, but he came out swinging. He was a progression all season long. His last 5 or 6 motos of the year would have had him firmly placed in this championship hunt. He brought that heat into 2016, and coming into the outdoors, it has to breed confidence for him. There was arguably no one better to round out the 2015 season. Honestly, it was an easy pick for him to be Rookie of the Year. That has translated into this year. He's got a little bit more pressure on him to perform at a championship level all season long. If he gets good starts, look for him to be in this hunt. Look for that today, the start to be critical.
All right. Plessinger, number 10, and his teammate Cooper Webb, number 9. And a lot of questions surrounding Cooper Webb today, but last year, his return is what really stood out to you.
Right, and very similar situation, dealing with an injury at the beginning of the season. We didn't know what to
Right here
expect
at
then.
Hangtown,
Absolutely,
too.
yeah. So he only finished one of the 2 motos here last year. Coming into today, we don't know. He came in last year, and as he returned, he rode really, really well. He was basically a menace for Jeremy Martin the second half of the season. Missing those first 4 rounds, though, really killed any chance for his championship. Coming into today, though, if he can find that pace, he's obviously been great in qualifying practice today. I think he's going to be a threat. I was very, very unsure, just like I was last year coming into Hangtown. But as he's looking today, he looks much better than he did a year ago.
How close would it get between Webb and Jeremy Martin?
You know what? Until the very end of the season, there are no team tactics. So, of course, they're going to try to knock each other down. But this is bragging rights and ego and money and everything you race for in a series. So it's pretty much no holds barred at this point.
All business per usual. Well, if you guys have any questions, comments for JT, he's going to answer them later on in the show. So tweet at us at promotocross, hashtag this is moto, or hashtag Pro Motocross. All right. Well, we're going to look into the haulers, and JT, you know all about that. When you were riding, did you see anyone in the truck that wasn't part of the team?
Yes, and I usually gave them dirty looks until they left. But no, in all seriousness, there's a lot of sponsors, a lot of people coming in and out, so it's kind of how it goes. Here we see...
Pro Circuit?
Yep, there's, is that Bones Bacon? Nope, that's a mechanic there checking out some of the... And this is last-minute stuff, so this is live,
Yeah.
and these guys we're coming up to race time. This is like the last look over and like, what did I forget? Surely something's about to fall off this thing. They have a mental checklist in their mind. They're going over every little single detail there.
Yeah, I think that's AC's bike too.
Yes.
How many times are they looking it over?
Too many. And honestly, the biggest thing is like just have one person working on the motorcycle so he knows what they're doing. But for these guys, there's so much pressure on them to not have the bike fail that they're checking and rechecking and even triple checking things.
We were walking around the pit yesterday. And I was asking you, how close are the riders to their mechanics?
They are. It becomes a real partnership. The rider can't do it without the mechanic, and of course the mechanic's counting on the rider to deliver results. So it's a trust factor. If the rider doesn't trust his mechanic fully, how can he be expected to really push the limit on his bike? And of course the mechanic's emotionally involved in this thing. They work 1,000,000 hours a week trying to get results on the weekend. So it really goes back and forth, and it's almost a marriage at some point. They're working so closely together.
So what else is going on in this area that maybe we can't see right now, but hopefully the camera can take us to another part?
Yeah, so you can hear the bike idling there. They're obviously making last-minute adjustments. He looks like he's checking over some electrical wires there to make sure everything's dialed in. But this is all last-minute stuff. If there was any real work to be done, you would see really a fire drill going on around the motorcycle. This is all things that are, hey, let's just make sure everything's dialed in. Let's make sure everything's ready to go. But these guys they're basically race ready.
All right. Well, we watched the practice earlier today, so we're going to take a look at the 250 qualification results. Anything stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Savatgy jumping to the front. He's been a threat all season long, but this is kind of where he's looking to break out. You know, he wasn't a championship threat last summer, even though he finished third in the series. Adam
Two rookies, top
yes,
six.
Absolutely. Adam Cincerillo. Then you have Faulkner and Charbonneau in fourth and sixth. I mean, that jumps off the page at you. When you look at Faulkner, he's a phenom. We absolutely expected him to be there. But Charbonneau, he didn't even know he was racing this series until a couple weeks ago. So incredible performances from both of them. I think Cincerillo is the story, though. Coming back from, he hasn't raced in a year. For him to come out and be that great in both sessions really says a lot about where he's at mentally and physically.
Yeah, mentally, I saw on Twitter, his dad said something about his butt patch had to say part-time.
Right.
And it's kind of a cool thing for someone that has had so much trouble injury-wise. At least he's calm and collected coming into today.
Got to take it lightly, right? What's done is done, and his future's in front of him. He can't fix any of the injuries. He can't do anything about any of that, but he has an opportunity again starting today to rewrite the history books.
So for everyone that plays Moto Dynasty Fantasy, we're going to take a look at JT's picks right here.
Don't copy my picks. That's what I'm telling you. I'm letting you all guys have a sneak peek.
He has been changing them as we're going along.
I am, but I kind of am contradicting myself a bit here, having Jeremy Martin for the win. I may move him down just because I feel like we're going to get a surprise win today. I have all the usual suspects near the top, the Joey Savachis and the Jesse Nelsons and the Adam Cincerillos, who I've actually moved forward today. I moved, Cooper Webb is a guy that I've been steadily moving forward as we've watched him all day long because he's been great, and there were so many questions to go with that.
Let's focus in on Jesse Nelson. It's been a while since he's been out there.
Right. So he had a big injury early in the Supercross season, has basically been off for the last 4 months. So it's good to see him back. I know he was ready to come back like maybe a month ago, but they just held him back, said, hey, focus on the outdoors, be ready to win races. So now's his time to perform.
All right. Anyone else?
Yeah. And
what about out of the best, who's going to be the worst?
You know what? I wanted to say Cooper Webb. In all my prep for this, I was going to say Cooper Webb, but I haven't seen anything like that from him today. So I'm a full believer in Cooper Webb now. A guy like Christian Craig, I thought would shine here. I thought he would really, really perform on this surface. I haven't seen much from him today, so I'm a little bit worried about him. If he doesn't get the start he needs, he may find himself in 12th to 14th struggling a bit.
And who of this list could actually see improvement throughout the entire series?
I think the rookies it's going to be a learning curve for those guys. They've obviously got the pace for the one lap, but they've never raced a 35-minute race before. They've never competed in this level of competition. So I think they're going to learn more than they could have ever expect today. And as that progresses, so will their ability, so will their confidence, and you'll see them get to the front more and more.
All right, well, we're going to go back to JT's top 10 moments of 2015. We saw his name on the board just before. Alex Martin just left his brother in the dust.
This was such a feel-good moment of the year. Two brothers battling out for the win at Budds Creek, and they went back and forth. I mean, I was there as a fan yelling for these two just because it was such a great race. Jeremy made the inevitable pass that everyone was waiting for, and then he falls over and hands it back to Alex. And then, of course, people are saying, oh, did he do it on purpose? Absolutely not. No one's ever handing a win to anyone. Your mom, your brother, your sister, no one's handing a win to anyone. So Alex earned that straight up, and it was awesome to see.
You wouldn't hand a win to your mom? Come on, let's be honest.
I might, and she's watching, so I'll say yes, but deep down it's probably no.
All right, well, we're going to check out some of those highlights from practice earlier today. And I know you were watching it pretty hardcore here, so take us through.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us what you see.
Yeah, and practice, practice is a qualifying affair. So these guys are pushing the limit. It's gate position, it's confidence, and it's honestly, it's ego more than anything. So Jeremy Martin here, he did not get very good laps in until the very end of the first session, and that's what counted for him. So he had everyone a bit scared. He was sitting in that 18th spot for a long time during that session and then threw in a heater right at the end there to get into the top 5. I believe he did end up in the 5th overall position, so he'll be fine with that. 5th place is just as good as first when it really comes down to gate position. He's going to be there for the whole 35 twice, though. That's the thing with him is you can't shake him. Good start, bad start. Good position, gate position, bad gate position. He's coming to the front today no matter what.
Next up, I believe we're going to see Cooper Webb. And we're not going to stop talking about him because he's really
and
big name today.
I'm really impressed with the progression that he's made in the last 2 weeks, because he at Vegas was a shell of himself with the wrist injury. Today he's come out swinging from the first lap. I saw him aggressive. I saw him not looking injured in that kind of hesitation that he had at Las Vegas. He hasn't had that all day. So he's been trying to tell everybody he's going to be good to go, and I'm becoming a believer.
Well, it's about time. If he was hurt, could he still hide it a little bit? Because
I think
he's
so.
On the mend?
Yeah, I think so. But there are telltale signs. Some of the single jumps where you just have to jump as far as you can and just let the bike go, and that's where you're holding on as tight as possible. And if you're injured and you're in pain, you're not going to jump quite as far. You're going to look for the smoother line, and he wasn't doing that. He was just going right to the rough stuff, right in the toughest part of the track.
Okay, next up, Adam Cincerillo.
Yeah, AC's a crowd favorite. You know, it's hard not to like the kid if you're on social media at all. He was the phenom growing up. You know, like his whole life has been about turning pro, and there was so much expectation and pressure put upon him that I know he feels like, hey, I haven't arrived yet. So it's awesome to have him back. The series is better with Adam Cincerillo in it. Social media is better with Adam Cincerillo in it. So I'm really excited for him. I'm a fan of Adam. I really like the kid, so I will be rooting for him personally all day long.
And he's only 19 years old, isn't he?
That's the scary thing. These kids turn pro at 16, and if you don't perform by the time you're 19 or 20, people want to write you off, which is crazy. These kids are nowhere near, reaching their peak potential. But for him, like I said, sky's the limit. If he can find some consistency and stay healthy all summer long, he's going to be in this thing the whole way.
All right, we're going to analyze some lines here. Tell us what you see.
So a lot of these are from the first session. The track was incredibly smooth, and these guys are absolutely pinned, wide open as fast as you can go. It's really unrealistic, and it's a bit unfair. You see Charbonneau here, and he's probably wondering, how the heck are these guys going faster than me out there? But, these practices are an art form. Faulkner here, another one of the rookies, huge expectations from him today. For him, just stay realistic. Realize this is your first race. You're not expected to be the champion today. Just go out there and try to sort this new professional thing out. A lot of, we're in the uphill section here that Tristan's going to be checking out. A lot of this is stay smooth, find your rhythm. A lot of these guys are in these sections, and they're really trying to figure them out, especially for the guys who've never ridden here before. Rhythm is more important than anything over 35 minutes. So as the track deteriorates, if we get any rainfall, you're going to have to reassess all that.
All right, well, Marvin Musquin is moving on to the 450 class this year, but last year, the way things ended had to leave a bitter taste in his mouth. That's going to be JT's moment number 7.
So what a heartbreaker of a day. These two put on such a show, being Marvin Musquin and Jeremy Martin, all the way down to the wire. And I can remember coming into the Indiana race, that's all the talk was about, was who's going to take this thing. And unfortunately for Marvin, he had a mechanical failure that really derailed his chances. It kind of handed Jeremy Martin an easy day. So had to be tough for Marvin, and anyone who knows Marvin knows how nice of a guy he is. And even if you're a Jeremy Martin fan, your heart had to kind of go out to him in that case.
What is it about him that fans love?
He's just so personable. He's so genuine and down to earth, and he doesn't have the ego that some of these young kids can develop. He's a bit older. He's 27, and he's kind of been there and done that, and such a great person off the bike that it's attractive.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. If he didn't have that untimely mechanical, who do you think wins?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Musquin. I think the way the track was shaping up that day, it was ruddy and technical and kind of slow. I think that fits Marvin Musquin's skill set perfectly, and I think he would have stolen it away from Jeremy.
All right, well, we are going to go to another short commercial, but when we come back, we're going to read some tweets. We have a GoPro look and 450 highlights. JT?
I'm excited for these tweets. I don't know if I should be. Maybe I should be scared, but I'm excited.
I'm a little scared. All right, we'll see you guys. Welcome back to the starting gate. Jenna Corrado here alongside Jason Chalmers, and we have our social media check-in right now. We're going to read some tweets and continue to send JT your questions and comments as we go along here. All right, JT, I'm going to leave this up to you.
So it's tough to read here. Let me take these off. So
don't be afraid to take your glasses off.
Why not, right? So we've got see some questions here. So final changes there, and this is really just the things that Barsha may be telling him. He's obviously putting new tires on, and this is last minute stuff here. So that's get nervous time for Ben, because he's making his final adjustments to the bike.
Alrighty, what do we got next?
So Jason Anderson there. Nice shot. It looks like he might be on Fly 150. I'm hoping more guys will jump that thing. But, man, you can see the clouds there building in the background. So look at all the umbrellas on the left there. Let's Go Racing. Yeah, these guys are prepared. I can't tell you the electricity in the air.
The sun.
Well, yeah, you're prepared for anything. Sun, rain.
That's true. You got to be prepared.
Motocross fans come ready. Oh, yeah.
Ah, that's us.
I feel good about it. Yeah, I look solid there.
Pat yourself on the back.
Yes.
Nice.
So we got some of the sponsor village there in the bottom. We have our fly racing thing over there, but I taken a few walks through there setting up, and there is so much to do here. That's the great thing about this racing. All the pit action, all the action on the track, the sponsor row village, vendors, there's literally something to do in every situation.
So now we know JT likes looking at himself. That was hilarious.
But, yeah, but see, if I put my glasses on, no one can tell that I'm checking myself out. Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to Blast from the Past segment.
Let's do this.
A little Hangtown throwback.
Back in my prime.
Yeah. Are those the days you were racing?
Yeah, not so much there. Some of these are a bit scary. Like, I don't even know what that looks like 1995 or 96 to me there. So I can kind of, understand the feeling of those motorcycles. The first ones, I have no idea. But, such a storied tradition of Hangtown Motocross, and there's so many, just great memories from this racing. Like I said, muddiest race probably ever happened here.
91.
Yeah, right, exactly. And there, when you look back over Hangtown, you can be like, and I've done it. I've looked back over the years and been like, wow, I forget all these moments. Yeah,
that reminds me, some of these guys, I hear that they start getting on the bike at 4 or 5 years old. So were you coming to these events when you were that young?
Me growing up in Florida, this was a long way to go. So we didn't just pack up on Friday and head to Northern California. But I was at the races around Florida. I grew up in this sport. My dad raced before I did. So it was, it just bred into me from an early age that motocross was life.
All right, well, we mentioned the Fly 150 a little while ago. We're going to check back in with Tristan, who was down there yesterday, with some more information.
Hey, thanks, guys. Yep, down here on the takeoff of the infamous Fly 150 jump. That's right, takeoff's right behind me. You can't even see the landing, it's so far away. So let's go for a little walk to just give you a reality check of just how big this jump is. So again, your average 250 rider, they're not going to do it. I know last year Adam Cianciarillo did it a couple times. He decided that was going to be enough. So you can see here, though, we're walking along just to try and get to even the first landing here. That's right, that's only just to make it a double jump. And then you can see way off over there, that is the third landing. So we're going to cruise around as we keep going here to give you a perspective. You can see the rest of the track. And that is the arch there, the WPS Fly Racing 150 arch, as we continue on all the way to the top here. This is where you don't want to land. This is not the sweet spot. This is the 140, the 145 spot. They call it the 150 jump for a reason. And that's because you want to land down here to get to that sweet spot. If you don't land down here, you're not going to be having a good time. Back over to you guys.
Tristan was talking about that sweet spot. How much of an edge does it give a rider if he does hit that mark?
I think it's a good second a lap, and if you're out on the rest of the racetrack, a second a lap is hard to come by. So if you are capable, it's a great place to make up easy time.
And if you don't hit it, how much time do you lose?
The same thing. It's a full second, but it's one of those things where if you come up halfway or come up short, that's when you're really, really paying the price. You don't want to do that. It's either in or out.
Okay, we talked about Jeremy Martin all show long. We're going to go back to JT's top moments, and at number 6, it's JM.
Yeah, so Jeremy Martin did it again. He came out 2 years ago and really was unexpected. Your unexpected champion. Last year was a little bit, everyone kind of saw it coming a bit. Other than Musquin taking him to the wire, he was there all season long. He's just one of those guys where week in, week out, any kind of weather, he's going to be at the front. So really, really dominant performance. Him and Musquin stole the show all summer long. And really, this guy has it all together. He's a Minnesota guy just like Ryan Dungey, and he's really followed that pedigree up. He's just doing all the things right. He rode at the same place that Ryan Dungey did early in his career at Ricky Carmichael's camp. He's done all of these things, and really the results are coming just like it did for Ryan Dungey. So 2 titles in a row. The big question is it going to be 3? Because he's going to have fierce competition just like he did last year.
You mentioned Ryan Dungey. If he reminds you of any rider, it would be Dungey?
I would have to say so, yeah. Not flashy, not, really over the top personalities off the bike. It's a lot of hard work and fierce determination.
All right, so next we're going to talk a little fuel. Break that down for us.
Yeah, so fuel is it's one of those things where these bikes are really, really high performance. You really need the best fuels out there, and the fuel costs have gone through the roof as performance has increased too. So there's a ton of testing done behind the scenes on this stuff. I've personally done it over and over and over, trying to find the exact blend that these companies come up with. So it's crucial.
All right, speaking of that, we're going to go back to the pit of the 450. And when you say cost, how much is it exactly?
Yeah, we went from a situation where it was only a few bucks a gallon, not much more than your standard car fuel. Now we're into that $50 or $60 a gallon range, which is really prohibitive for some of the privateer teams. The factories, yeah, you're spending money everywhere, so it's just another cost. But, man, it's really, proven the point that racing has become expensive at this level.
All right, we're going to talk to a mechanic now at the JGR pit.
You can introduce yourself. What's up, guys? Isaiah Murph here working on Phil's bike. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about BP Fuels. We run the Pro 6 HT. It's really consistent with power, and for the price that we get it for, it's really good. It helps everybody out. You keep it, keeps our motors running well, cool, and it's really good for consumers as well.
All right.
Yeah, so you heard that North Carolina drawl there from the mechanic there. The JGR team is obviously based just north of Charlotte. Weston Pike's bike here. These guys they're in kind of a chill mode right now because they have a little bit, and they'll watch part of the 250 moto coming up before they get out there. So a lot of these guys have all their work done, and it's kind of hang out. You see the JGR fuel there, which we showcased, but a lot of these guys they're getting their food in their systems, they're getting their hydration. But this is kind of their downtime, and the rest of the day they're going to be working their butt off.
Right now, do they want to see the fans in their face right now?
Not so much. They're probably inside their haulers. They've had their autograph session. Really, it's time to prepare your body and mind for what's to come. It's just like any other high-level sport. It's so mental, and if you're not in the right place before you head out there, you're not going to perform at your highest level.
Nice. I'm trying to see what they got cooking over there.
Yeah, JGR is known as one of the best places to go find food on race day. So they take their
filet mignon?
Yeah, they take their hospitality seriously. I've been known to go over there and steal some food time and time again, but that's fine. They love that, and it's a big family around here, so they would never turn anyone away.
Well, we reviewed the 250 qualification results. We got the 450 results up next.
So yeah, I predicted this. Basically, and anyone could have seen.
Did you, though?
Well, Stevie Wonder could have seen this coming. Eli Tomac was your fastest qualifier. It was kind of business as usual for him. It wasn't the gap that we saw last year. Last year he was 3 seconds better, and it was like, wow. I think everyone said wow at some point during that qualifying session.
What about Ryan Dungey, though?
Yeah, and he was faster in that second one, but this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for him. I think if he had come out and gone 10th in both sessions, he would be a little bit frustrated. He was your fastest in the last session. It was just a bit slower than the first session out. So I think mentally he's in a good place. He realizes he was the best one out there that second time. It's just going to put him in a bad grid spot for both motos.
Who should be worried here?
You know what? I thought Dungey after the first one, as you said, but guys like Barsha, who were really looking to turn this thing around, he didn't really perform in either one of these. So I think he's got to be a bit frustrated. Guys like Andrew Short, Justin Brayton, they were outside of that top 20, so they can't be thrilled about. They're going to be on the outside of both of these motos looking in.
And we were wondering about James Stewart. Are you impressed with 8?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I think he's certainly capable of more than that, but it's a good start. He's just trying to build momentum to get back to the level we saw from James Stewart for years and years. So everyone knows he's had his struggles the past 2 years, so I don't think anyone expected him to come out and set the fastest time. But if he can take that 8th, turn it into a top 10 first moto, and then get through the second moto, because his fitness isn't quite where it needs to be, that will build his confidence, and maybe we see better at Glen Helen.
So we're going to take a look at your fantasy picks that you've been tweaking along the way.
No taking pictures of this. Don't change your team to mine. That's not fair. It's not fair. But in all seriousness, this is what makes moto fun, is adding fantasy and these things into it, and it's all prediction, right? And
well, I just want to say yesterday you had Ryan Dungey 1.
I did,
and
I
then
did.
I reminded you, never won at Hangtown.
That's right. That's right.
So by no surprise, you moved him down to number 3.
The student has become the teacher. But it's really more off of, I'm a little worried about the weather. I think if we do get showers in the afternoon, that I think Roxon and Tomac will excel in that a bit more than Dungey. So I took all of these things into account. And when you do your fantasy picks, you have to look at everything. You can't just look at, that's the fastest guy, that's the next fastest guy. Because in outdoor racing, there's so many variables to it that you have to take into account.
So are you going to be fixing this up until the minute of the race? I play fantasy football, but I want to know more about this.
And we sign off 5 minutes before this racing will start. I will be frantically finding my phone trying to verify that all my picks are exactly where I want them. I take this stuff serious.
All righty. Well,
don't give me that look.
All right. Well, we're going to come back. We're going to take a short break here. We have to finish up JT's top moments. We're also going to talk about Ryan Dungey, Eli Tomac, Ken Roxon.
It's a test right now. You got to name.
Oh yeah, and we're going to see a really great clip of JT too. You're not going to want to miss that.
I haven't seen this. This is scary.
Welcome back to the starting gate. Jenna Corrado alongside Jason Thomas. And if you weren't able to check out the practice earlier on, we have some highlights for you that Jason's going to break down now. Let's see that.
Yeah, this was exciting. This is the first action anyone's seen. So I was out there standing trackside. I may have been, waving some people on, maybe not. But I'm a fan when it comes down to it.
Dungey here.
Dungey never won Hangtown, which is shocking when you look at it. Someone who's been as dominant over the past few years as he has. He's always had his struggles here. So he's going to be looking to right that ship today. Looked great in that last session. Topping the field. Unfortunately, his time didn't really count because it was, the track was slower. He's in that big Mo section right there, kind of jumping across. This is that infamous corkscrew that they added this year. So vertical wall there. And the new wrinkles are what make it fun and keep it fun for the racers. It's something that you don't see year in and year out. You add little changes that keep everybody guessing.
Someone like Tomac and Roxon, they want to come out and make a statement today, but does he really have to make a statement today? Because you always talk about his consistency and what he can do all series long.
I think he's going to want to, because the scariest thing for a guy like Ryan Dungey is to allow Ken Roxon or Eli Tomac to gain confidence. He's going to want to come out and say, hey, I'm still the man. I have a #1 plate on my bike for a reason. Yes, you guys are great and all that, but I'm still the one that you guys need to be chasing. So for a person who's never won here, I think it's really critical to come out and say, hey, Eli, I know you were great here last year, but hey, I'm the guy.
All right, next up, Marvin Muscan.
Yeah, Marvin's making the move up to the 450 class. I'm interested to see how Marvin does today. His qualifying session wasn't all that great, but I don't think this is a perfect Marvin Muscan track for him.
He said he has a lot to figure out.
Yes, and that's from settings and finding his place in the class, and he's never raced most of these guys in an outdoor championship. So I think he's going to be learning all day long, and honestly, just as we're questioning where he's going to end up, I think he has the same questions for himself.
What's his ceiling, though, in the 450 class?
He can be a podium guy all day long.
Yes.
I think he'll have weekends where he's in the hunt for the win. A track like Washougal, Washington, he could win there. So I think if he gets through today, can hover around the top 5, he'll be happy with that.
So you have him #7 on your fantasy pick.
I do. I just think it's going to be tougher than maybe he wants. I just don't think this track suits him all that well. It's really fast and really kind of open, where he's more of a technical guy. So is that Stu? Yeah, that's Stu. Stu's probably the biggest question mark in the sport. Forget about Cooper Webb's injury. Forget about everything else. Stu is polarizing and has question marks all around him. We know the struggles he's had. We know the time off he was forced to take, injuries, and just everything that seemingly could go wrong for this guy.
Does he look like he's in shape?
I think he's working on it. He looks thinner than he did mid-Supercross season, so it's a step in the right direction. I still don't think he's in the prime physical shape that he was at when he was like on Alden Baker's program. But it's a work in progress. He knows he's not 100% fit yet. So I think today is going to be more about consistency and building blocks than it is going to be about going for a win.
So today might be a measuring stick for him, but how long do you think he'll last throughout the series?
I hope for the fans it's all 12 rounds. He's such a draw for everyone. And honestly, I talk to people all the time that the only reason they tune in is to watch James Stewart, and that's really, really powerful when you talk about a fan base. So I know people love Stu. We've had our run-ins and haven't always gotten along, but I know he's great for the sport, and I respect his ability. So I'm hoping he's out there all 70 minutes today.
Yeah, and Malcolm Stewart is going to go full-time to the 450 next year.
Yes, yep.
That's those two will be together. All right, let's take a look at what's going on around Hangtown right now.
So that's Shane McElrath there.
19 minutes to go too.
Yep, he's in the staging area, and this is get nervous time for these guys. I know for me, when I was sitting back there, I could barely even breathe, let alone try to be personable with the Georgia Lindsay or whoever's down there with the camera. So they're going into picking their starting gates, and this is really the time where everything is about to come to fruition, and you either have it or you don't by now.
How critical are these moments mentally, though, when you have to really dial in?
Yeah, I think focusing on the task at hand is big. And you'll see, if you look at guys like Ryan Dungey and these guys, their face is like iron when they're sitting on that starting line, because they know it's obviously not war, but to them, this is all that matters. Like, their whole life is built around these moments that occur on this racetrack. And you only have so long to prove yourself out there. So it's all week long, they'll be thinking about these moments they're about to have to go prove.
Speaking of moments, we're going to go back to your top moments of 2015. Number 5, the Legends race at Ironman National.